Welcome to our video log about one of our local stream systems. I'm Alex, and this is Finn.
About a week ago, the two of us took a trip to the Chemainus River that is located in the Chemainus River Provincial Park. That is about a 20-minute drive northwest of Duncan, BC. And here we have a topographical map, and you can see the Chemainus River going down the center, and it is located northwest of the town of Duncan. You can see here in the bottom right corner. And the Chemainus River begins up in the mountains, you can see up here, and flows directly across our map into the Stewart Channel down here, which is part of the Pacific Ocean. And the Chemainus River, you can see it has quite a few different streams and rivers that flow into it, a lot of them coming down off of this mountain range up here. And the Chemainus River is classified as both braided and meandering. You can see a section of meandering right here as the river turns quite a bit down at the valley bottom right there. And here we can see a close-up of where the Chemainus River flows out. And you can see obvious sections of braided river directly adjacent to the ocean where the river flows out.
So the climate classification for Chemainus is CSB, which is coastal Mediterranean. This means that the temperatures are pretty mild all year round, but there's higher precipitation in the winter, and typically the summers are drier. Here's a climate graph showing the air temperature and the precipitation values for 2006, showing those values for each month. Here's a table showing the daily discharge data for a location at the Chemainus River in 2006. And here's a hydrograph of that data in 2006. So the temperature and precipitation data was recorded at a station around this area, and then the daily discharge data was recorded at a station in this area for the river.
So here on our topographic map, we can see how the river's gradient affects the shape that it takes and whether it stays straight or meanders. So up here in the mountains, you can see that with the steeper gradient, the river tends to stay quite a bit straighter. Whereas if you look down here, when there's less mountains surrounding the river and it's more open and flat, the river tends to meander more.
So here's an overhead view of the Chemainus River. If we zoom in here, we can see where we visited the river. So as you'll see later on in the videos, we took shots from this area and also this area. You'll see in the videos that the water level's a lot higher than it is in this overhead view, and that's because we visited the river in November, and that has the highest river discharge.
Here we have an in-person video of the Chemainus River, and directly in front of the video you can see that there is an eddy. This is formed because of the rock that I am standing on pushes the stream into circular motion to the left there. Here we have an overhead view of the section of river that we were looking at in the last video. As you can see, the stream is coming down from above, and as it comes down, it reaches this rock. This is where I was standing, and some of the water is pushed over here to the left, where it goes in the opposite direction, comes back around in a circular motion, and this is how the eddy is formed.
Here, just to the right of the last video, you can see a section of the river that is meandering in the back left corner there. So here's an overhead picture of where the river meanders. Over flatter topography, the water flows faster along the outside of the river, and this causes the bank to erode, and this is what creates the bend in the river, or the meander.
Here we can see where the river splits into two directions, one direction going towards the top of your screen and one direction going towards the bottom of the screen, and the split in the river is what forms the island. So here we can see an overhead view of the island in the center here, And the way this island is formed is the water coming down from above will take the path of least resistance and the path that requires the least amount of energy. And in this case, with the uneven topography, that will leave a high point in the center here, forming an island.
So some of our findings on the Chemainus River were that the water level of the river depends a lot on the seasons. You can see in the videos that we took at the river, the water level was a lot higher than the ones you can see on Google Earth. You can also see this in the hydrograph, as the mean discharge is a lot higher over the winter months compared to the summer months. This kind of shows that the flow of the river is a lot more dependent on precipitation than glaciers.
Yeah, and overall, for this project as a learning tool, we both found it really cool to get to go in person to the river, to get to see all the different features that we were looking at. And probably most notably, it was pretty cool to see the eddy and how the water flow changes a lot dependent on topography.